Hi everyone, welcome back to Ria's collection. Today I am going to roast some cauliflower using my homemade Sambar Masala powder. You can use any brand of Sambar Masala that you have, and this is one of our most favorite ways to eat this vegetable. Let's begin. I am using two medium-sized cauliflower. If you look closely, it kind of fits the palm of my hand. This is the easiest way for me to show the size of this cauliflower. So you need two of these, and if you're using a very large one, just use one. So let's start making this dish. So into a bowl, I have separated the cauliflower into smaller florets. Keep them slightly big because once it's roasted, it's going to shrink a little bit more. So you want some size for your dish, right? So keep them slightly big. So I have washed it thoroughly and I'm going to drain this for about half an hour so that we don't have extra moisture. So I am using two sheet pans here. This is a half sheet size pan, which is about 18 inches by 12 to 13 inches in length. So we're going to dump all of that cauliflower into these two separate pans. I am using a large pan here because the more space you have between the cauliflower, the better it is for it to be roasted. But if you only have a smaller pan, do this in two batches. And my oven is pretty large, so I can put two trays in at the same time. So I'm going to drizzle it with a little bit of avocado oil or olive oil. So there's no real hard and fast rule as to how to roast it or how much to add, how much to not add. It's up to you. So I am eyeballing the measurements here, but I will give you an approximate measurement in the description box below. So I added about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil here, and I am also sprinkling it with a generous amount of salt. And now I'm adding a little bit of black pepper. You can add as much as you want or even not add it at all. So this is a very customizable recipe. It's more of a method actually than a recipe, and you can substitute this cauliflower with any vegetable of your choice. And this is my homemade Sambar Masala powder, and I am using about a tablespoon each for both the trays. So like I mentioned earlier, you can use cauliflower for this recipe, or you could even substitute it with a mix of broccoli, cauliflower, potatoes, carrots, etc. So add the sambar powder now, and I'm going to use my hands to give it a good mix. So what I'm looking for when I am mixing with my hands is that the powders that I've added kind of coats all the florets. So if you feel that you need to add a little bit more, go for it. So you also need to be a little generous with oil here because once you roast it, you don't want the powders to taste raw. So add that amount of oil that I mentioned and mix it up really well. As you can see, the florets are nicely coated with the masala powder that I've just added, which is a good sign. So scrape it all and give it a good massage and space it out nicely before you put it into the oven. So it's looking really good right now, and I'm going to put this in the oven at 425 degree Fahrenheit, about 225 degrees centigrade for about 25 to 30 minutes. You can give it a mix once in between if you want to. So the roasted veggies are now ready. I'm just going to quickly give it a mix. And when I'm doing this, I'm also checking for salt. And if you need some extra salt, add at this point. It's all hot, so it'll get mixed in really well. Look at all those charred spots on the cauliflower. It is all extra crunch. If you want to roast it further, you can. Take it out every now and then, like give it 5 extra minutes and mix it up well, and then put it back in again if you want it to be more crispy. But remember, the more you crisp it up, there's a chance of the dry bits of masala powder that can get burnt if you haven't used enough oil. I think this is a good point for us. So I'm going to stop roasting it at 30 minutes. I'm going to transfer this into a plate and we're going to enjoy that. All those blackened spots, they're not burnt, but it's all just going to add more to the flavor. So our oven roasted cauliflower is now ready to be enjoyed. This dish doesn't look that exciting, but it tastes exceptionally good. A lot of my followers on Instagram have made this whenever I've shared the recipe in my stories. So I hope you get to try this at home and enjoy.